delighted to be joined by Dave and Gearoid from Drought and Danielle from Metal Cell Forums. How are you, lads?
All good.
All good.
Yeah, great to have you, lads.
Thanks a mil for having us.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few months for you. I want to just talk about that.
It's been an interesting few months for everyone.
Yeah, especially I thought you were building a serious momentum, and like your release as well. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it got a lot of attention, and then you were following it up with gigs as well. So when it ground to a halt, did you just regroup and were you following a certain plan first of all?
Yeah, I suppose we had a plan in our minds, and obviously we had a couple of gigs in the pipeline that were now sidelined. But so we didn't really halt or anything like that. We kept working, obviously, in the background, and it was kind of a good way to kind of get some new stuff written, really, get another release lined up, I suppose, ready to hit the studio again. So I suppose it didn't really stop. It more just, I suppose, stopped the momentum on the gigging front. But I think everyone's in the same boat. And
the two of you are the guitarists with the band.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, can you just fill us in on the other lads?
Sure.
Yeah, so myself and Gearoid obviously play guitar. Andy is bassist. Podge is our drummer, and Mark is our vocalist.
Okay.
So in various different degrees, we've all kind of played together in other projects and things like that before. So I suppose this is the vehicle to do what we didn't get to achieve with the other ones.
Okay, so what bands were you in that we'll say Irish metal fans would know of?
Sure. So myself, Wound Upon Wound, I played in a few years back with Dave. That turned into more Technia eventually.
Yeah.
I wasn't around at that stage, but that's the connection between the two of us. Dave is the most famous one, I think. Dave played in Cold War, so he's like, internationally renowned at this point.
I wouldn't say that now. Yeah, myself and Gearoid played in Wound Upon Wound, and then Gearoid decided he wanted to throw himself off his bike at very high speed, so he was out of action for a good while. So eventually Wound Upon Wound kind of morphed into more Technia, and our drummer Podge played with both of those bands as well, so I've known him a very long time.
Yeah.
And then I suppose I was playing with Cold War kind of in parallel, so I know Andy, our bass player, through that.
Okay.
And then Mark used to play bass for Warpath. And he also played guitar and gut wrench as well. So again, we know him through the kind of the gigging scene. We've played many a gig with both bands. So
very good. And what about the logo and the name? Who's behind that?
Yeah, I suppose with the name was more just something that really kind of stuck in our heads. But I suppose the interesting topic of conversation now is we're actually looking at changing the name. So unfortunately, we discovered there's another Italian band with the same name who have just released an album, and I wouldn't say they're a million miles from what we do. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because we got there first, but they put out an album, we put out 2 songs, so their visibility probably is a little bit higher. It's unfortunate, but
I thought that was a fucking brilliant name, lads.
Yeah, it's a great name.
It was so good that it was thought of twice.
That said, I just said I'd check out Spotify, and you're not on Spotify, but I think there was 2. Yeah. There's actually another Drought as well.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I believe one of the guys from, I think, Conan, he's in another band, or was in another band called Drought as well, which we only heard about afterwards, but actually, look, these things happen.
Yeah, like with Spotify especially, you kind of have to pay to get your stuff up there as well, unless you're backed by a label or a distributor or whatnot. So
really,
I think it's a royalties thing. So for Bandcamp, for us, was kind of the DIY approach to just getting it up there, and kind of doing our own promo and stuff like that. So
fucking hell, I'm paying nothing to Spotify. I'm throwing up my podcasts the whole time. Is it just, how did they differentiate?
I think Dave probably knows more about that.
I'm not really very sure. Just when I looked into it around the time, it was basically you needed either a label to back it or a distributor. And the options I looked at were out of reach at the very start. So.
Yeah, I think actually that rings a bell because I was asked, am I a band or am I a podcast or something. So yeah. Jesus, I hope I won't be hit with a big tax bill now or some fucking shit now. You owe Spotify for it.
Well, if you're not, you might find us starting a podcast instead of releasing albums as well. So
you can call yourself the Drought podcast. I don't think there's a Drought podcast. Yeah.
And what do you think of the lads, Danielle? I was wondering, I thought you'd like their stuff, but I wasn't sure then about the black metal side of it, but obviously.
Yeah, no, I was just saying to Richie today, I really enjoyed your stuff because I'd be big into like Mastodon, be one of my favourite bands, kind of sludgy. And I was only starting to get into black metal in the last probably about 3 or 4 months. So I kind of like that you're not trying to be one specific genre. There's kind of everything thrown in there that works really well. Because sometimes there's just too much going on and you're just like, what's happening here? But it was very, this works, everything worked, I thought. And my favorite thing about tracks is when you can kind of go, geez, that's some riff there.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that, particularly in Plague Trader when it like changed up. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, no, savage stuff. Looking forward to your next release.
I think it all comes from, I think all of us kind of, I suppose, share a common pool of bands we all kind of like, but we all have our bits and pieces that each one of us would kind of, I suppose, prefer, but it's putting them all into the big melting pot and see what comes out.
Yeah. I was amazed that there was no blast beats in it.
Pod's well able for blast beats.
I know.
I think we're changing that on the next.
Because it would have been so easy to put in blast beats, and you know, there's certain like. Or death metal would be as far as I go into the genre. Now, I do like Horrenda.
Oh, yeah.
I like their stuff because I'm not a black metal fan. I make no secret of it. And then you've got like these screaming vocals over like repeated blast beats. I just go, fuck off. You know, not a hope. Jesus, I was just amazed that, first of all, there weren't any blast beats, and second of all, it actually suited the 2 songs that she put out. It was perfect. It was more doomy sludge, and the vocals obviously gave it that black metal side then, you know.
Yeah, I think for us, well, for me personally anyway, I think they were the 2 songs out of the first initial set we wrote that kind of encapsulated all the different sounds we were going for. So we all agreed from the outset we weren't particularly going to pigeonhole ourselves into one genre or, you know, be only interested in one genre. We said, look, whatever comes out, and if it's, you know, 3 songs in a death metal vein, 3 songs in a black metal vein, that's fair enough. We can split it by release. We're not necessarily going to be like, oh, we're a black metal band, so we can't use that riff. You know, oh, we're a death metal band, we can't play that sludge riff.
Yeah.
If it works, it works for us.
We said, like, you know, the 2 that we picked kind of figured a fast and a slow one, like the juxtaposition of putting the 2 of them together. And it has a bigger range, you know, because we could have just put on, like, there's a song that we played live that isn't on the EP. That's a lot faster than even the first song, but like then you're just a band who puts out 2 really fast songs and there's no kind of like, you can't show people the breadth of what you can do. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's showcasing we're more than just one side of this, I suppose. As I said, we're all interested in different bits and pieces, so it's trying to portray that as best we can. Yeah,
and I think you got the perfect balance with the 2 songs we've heard anyway. What kind of set list have you in relation to live gigs? I know you didn't play many. How many did you actually play? Was it 2? I know you were down Cork, all right?
Yeah, we just did the one down in Cork, and that was just basically before the whole quarantine part came in. So we had another one scheduled up in Dublin.
Was it Overwrought?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
some band. Fuck me, wow.
Yeah, we were looking forward to that one big time. So we're hoping now once we can get another date, it'll be the same sort of lineup. We're hoping to keep all those bands on the lineup and go ahead with that one.
So you only had 1 gig, was it, altogether?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Jesus.
That's mad.
But, you know, I think like we were all kind of collectively saying, like, we've all been in bands, especially when you're younger, where you practice a bit and you just desperately try and get gigs together and you kind of play a few sets before your first couple of gigs aren't that great. And we really wanted to make sure that we had the songs nailed before going out and just like, you know, show people what you can do as opposed to kind of just trying to do it for the experience. Like we've all played in those different bands we all kind of know the ropes of this stuff. So we wanted to come out swinging and actually like kick some ass, you know. And the feedback was great. So yeah, people seem to have a really positive reception of it, which was fantastic, you know. So
Yeah, I suppose we wanted to get the whole package as well from the very get-go. You know, music, the kind of the imagery and everything. We decided from the very start, like we wanted to get our own lights, get our own show, and get it all together so that we're able to give it the best from the off, you know.
Why do you think you got so much attention so fast? Is it just because people recognized you from your old bands? And I know the songs stand out on their own anyway, but it's very unusual for a band that have only played once, released 2 songs, and you got on overdrive as well.
I honestly, I don't know. There was, I suppose the intention was always to try and push it as far as we could, but you know, we never really expected anything when we released it. We just said, let's put the songs out and see what happens. And we, as I said at the start, we kind of had a plan in our own minds. We wanted to release an EP, do a couple of gigs. Before we even released the first one, we already had another EP ready to record and ready to go. That's been kind of sidelined, but you know, on the back of that, we also have another one ready to go. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's just having the plan in place, really.
Like it's funny actually, because you know what we were saying, like the whole situation globally had kind of slowed things down. The both of us actually pretty much at the same time bought, there's a guitar kind of multi-effects modeler that we both bought the same model of. It's an Impero Hot Tone. I don't know if there's like Guitar Gear guys who are...
Oh, there is. They're all listening to this.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Basically, within the week, we both bought the same gear. And Dave's been lashing tons of riffs into GarageBand and stuff since, you know. So the time at home has actually been good for kind of getting the creative juices going as well. So just
Daniel,
trying to make most of it.
Daniel, did you go to that gig on the Friday night in Urban Assault?
No, I don't think so. Well, I was there on Friday night actually. It was the Friday night. Sorry, I was there in body. I was there in body, not in mind. Yeah, I was there. Gallup was the first band I seen, so I arrived about 5 or 6, I think, maybe 7 actually. It's a bit hazy.
That was your downfall, arriving too early.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, but
because I missed the Friday at work, and so I could only go on the Saturday.
Yeah, no, I did. I didn't catch Drought anyway. No.
You were there at the Saturday, weren't you? I think we were up the front at the Saturday.
I was. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was around all right.
Actually, I'd never played Fred's before when we were there. I played the Krushkeen Lawn a bunch. Sadly, that's gone now. But I hadn't played Fred's. It's quite nice.
No, the Krushkeen Lawn. Did you play the Krushkeen Lawn? Yeah.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Many years ago. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We did a few things there actually. Yeah.
Times, yeah. If you remember Winterfest back in the.
Yes, of course I do. Yeah. I was at that.
Yeah, it was great.
I was at a few of them actually. I saw a load of Hail of Bullets, Amon Amart, all those ones.
Yeah.
And was it? Did you play with Wounded? Is it for that? Is it? What band were you with?
You probably played Gearoid with Nocturnal before, but I know we did the Burning Oak Fest as Wound.
That's
right. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Burning Oak Fest as well. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
They were what year was that, lads? Was that 2000 and something, wasn't it?
It's going back last
I want to say it was like 2012 was the Burning Oak, something around that time.
Yeah, 2012, yeah.
I think the Amon Amart one was like 2010, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that'd be about right. Mental. And did you go to them in Limerick then as well? Did you take the trip down?
No, I was raging. I missed that. I'd love to have been there.
Gearoid, no?
No, afraid not. Yeah,
Okay.
No. Were any of you guys in Slave Zero actually as well? I seen that with somebody from
Andy, our bass player, yeah, he was in Slave Zero.
Yeah, I remember seeing Slave Zero, my first siege ever when I was quite young. So
Bad.
I think
flashback.
actually they played the first Siege I played as well, actually, I think, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Back when it was in UL.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh wow, that's a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, lads, you're veterans of the scene. Fair play. I think it comes across in the 2 songs as well, to be fair. You know, you can see the great structures of the song and the songwriting as well. Do you leave Mark do the lyrics, or who does the lyrics?
Yeah, I suppose we'd all contribute to sort of the concepts or the ideas behind them. But yeah, he's the main writer, and Andy then for backing vocals and again concepts and things like that.
Cool. And do you think there's a scene developing in Dublin now, a kind of a bigger black metal scene, black death metal scene?
Yeah, I suppose it's always kind of been up and down, really. Like it kind of comes in waves. Like I suppose I never would have been deep into any particular scene myself, but I'd always be aware of kind of what was going on in the bands that were up and coming and making waves up here. And yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I mean, Astral Tomb
Yeah.
were a band. I checked them out. Good sound as well.
Yeah, I've been friends with some of the guys in that band for I'd say 15 odd years. And when I heard they were kind of getting all together to do a new project, I said I'd check it out, and they just sent me some very, very rough demos. And on the back of that, I said, look, let's get them involved in the gig. And we had a couple of other plans, maybe to do a split release or something with them, didn't, coming down the line. But we'll see what happens now with all of this.
Yeah, and Ocus as well.
Yeah, very good band.
I think, as you said, it probably ebbs and flows with Dublin, and it's. I think because myself and Danielle are spoilt down in Cork. It's really Cork and Limerick are the main two areas now at the moment, with probably Galway. Galway obviously have the best band there at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, hard to argue with that, isn't it, Danielle? 10 ton.
Yeah, it's tough. Like in fairness, to argue with that. But yeah, they've built up such an unbelievable following, like not just in Ireland but internationally. Like, it's incredible stuff. Yeah.
We'd be good friends with Ronan, actually.
Ronan.
He's been friends with us for
great
years.
Man.
So, yeah,
great man.
Yeah, we've been following it. They deserve it.
Do you know what? Yeah. And driving home tonight, I was just listening to the two songs again, and Ronan could comfortably add his own take on those songs. I just thought,
should we tell Mark to watch out then?
If you want to kind of go down more sludgy,
get
him to do a guest appearance, a collaboration.
Yeah, because he said that, I think, in your Overdrive interview, didn't you?
We're very into that sort of idea, yeah.
Drought featuring 10 Ton Slug. I'm all for it. I'm all for that.
That's where you heard it now. We've given you the idea there. And Sharon,
we might have to take that one.
Yeah.
So songwriting wise, then, how many songs have you in the bag?
Well, we've got
probably out of the gate, and then we're kind of in the middle of writing 2 of them at the moment. So the set list that we played in Cork that time, I think we had 5 songs. So 2 that you would know off that release, and then 3 others that we've kind of had knocking around for a bit.
Yeah.
And then 2 new ones we're working on right now.
Okay. So I think the idea of using an EP to release them is clever.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the format of an album is kind of dead or dying. Like I know myself, I would love to sit and listen to albums, but I think a lot of people nowadays, they just either don't have the time or they don't have the interest or the attention span, I suppose, to sit and listen to them. So I feel you lose momentum a lot quicker.
Yeah, I would say, like, if we were going to do an album, and I'd be the same. Like, I love album length stuff, but for me, I love albums that are very much cohesive, either just musically or have a theme running through them. And it's a big ask to try and get that together from most bands. You can do like a concept album or stuff, but I think we quite like the idea of working in the chunks and then having 3 or 4 songs and releasing those and moving forward.
Yeah.
Because you could be a band, the other opposite end is like Tool or something, where they have a record every 10 years or whatnot, and that's...
No fan wants that. Being truthful, they don't like.
Yeah. I think for us as well, the EP lends itself a lot better to the idea that, we're not pigeonholing ourselves. So, if you release a 10-song black metal album, people go, oh, they're a black metal band.
Yeah.
It's a very good point.
That's
Dave.
A brilliant point, yeah.
Yeah, you're spot on.
For us, it didn't well, I know for me personally, and I think the lads would be happy for me saying on their behalf as well, like, it wasn't really our intention to do anything like that, particularly when it comes to the promo side of things as well, because, if you do one album, as I said, you're labeled as whatever type of band, and then you only get a set period of time out of the promo for that, and then people forget about you. So if you're lucky, even 3-4 months out of it, you're not going to have another album written in 3-4 months. So for us, it made more sense to release different sections of our sound, I
Yeah.
suppose, at different points in time, and have another one ready to go, and another one ready to go, so the momentum could hopefully build on the back of each one.
Yeah, I mean, you could give two great comparisons there straight away. You know, with Croza from Cork, who went just straight in for an album, and then you look at Grey Stag that have just
Yeah.
released, you know, two EPs, and you know, it's an interesting contrast. I think both parties were happy in the end, and I think maybe Croza might go down the album route again. But I'd say I can see Grey Stag going for another EP, probably.
Yeah, it's
Well, if you think
interesting.
about it, like the amount of promo you get out of each one, like unless you're a band that's, you know, particularly earning a good bit out of it or can do tons of magazine interviews, tons of different things, you kind of just get forgotten about after a while because the next wave of releases comes out. So
Yeah.
if you're not kind of keeping up with that
So.
flow, it's just,
You don't want to have filler tracks either, you know? Like you
Yeah.
could have 10 songs and 3 of them are shite. Like it just
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm old school. I love my albums, but for some reason I lose interest on it with Spotify. Whereas, you know, I bought Sepultura's new album on CD. It's perfect. It's in the car, man, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But if I had it on Spotify, would I listen to the whole album? I don't know. I won't. It's weird. I don't know what the fuck.
it's too easy when it gets to that track that's just not your favorite track and you just switch it to something else. You know,
That's
what makes it too
true.
easy.
Yeah.
like maybe I'm a bit of a hipster in this regard, but like I definitely like if I like stuff that I come across on Bandcamp, I will generally buy the vinyl as well. Like I'll get the digital download, or I'll buy the vinyl and actually have it in the house. Especially if it's something like if Invictus release something here, or the Sarlacc stuff, because obviously there's an element of supporting the local scene here as well. But I prefer to do that, you know, and actually have something physical too. I kind of maybe I'm old school like that as well, you know. Because then as well, you like when you put it on and you have to flip the sides and stuff, you're paying conscious attention to the music. You can't just hit fast forward.
See, Danielle, now, what you think of all this theory?
You're all old. No, I'm messing. No, I'm only messing. Like I get that. I suppose I wasn't brought up in the time where vinyls were a thing. You know, it was all CDs when I was just younger. Like I'll probably go on the other end and buy merch from loads of like merch from stalls as well. That's kind of how I contribute. So yeah, no, I love Spotify. That's where all my music is, all Spotify, between Spotify and Bandcamp. So yeah, no, that's how I like things. I like seeing the album cover on my phone, that kind of thing. I'm very, very in the new age, aren't I?
Jesus, you are.
Very cool,
Imagine
yeah.
if that album cover was 12 inches by 12 inches.
That's what I was thinking
That's
when you said
true.
it.
Yeah, that's
And
but
you
that
can
is-
take out the inlay sleeve and read the lyrics.
Right.
wow.
Imagine that.
I can't read.
My mate actually put up, Timmy, he put up a picture there on Facebook 2 weeks ago. And it was he found it up in his attic, Master of Puppets by Metallica, the
Seen
cassette.
that.
Did you see that?
I seen that, yeah.
And the inlay sleeve, you want to see the size of the writing. All the lyrics were on this like tiny little fucking inlay sleeve. And we read it. We were fucking glad to read it.
I love how you felt that you had to qualify that Master of Puppets was by Metallica. Like we were.
I know.
Fair enough.
Blame
Yeah,
that.
oh, there we go.
For the younger listeners out there that don't like trash. There's probably fans out there that fucking probably got into Met the Black album and just moved forward. Like, it's bizarre.
Sure there are, yeah.
You know,
Sure,
that just...
yeah. Like I would have started with S&M because that would have been what my parents were listening to. That's how I got
Jesus.
into Metallica, and then I worked my way back.
Yeah,
So,
that's mad.
Yeah, I think I was the Black Album and then backwards from there.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
somehow
that
this, you know,
fucking
people talk
load
about
and
like
load.
the big four and stuff and how they get into metal. And honestly, it went from like hearing Faith No More and Alice Cooper in my dad's car and then a friend playing Carcass to me. So I didn't really have this middle ground. I just went
No.
straight into like
Jesus.
that and Doomed, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure it's the same for so many people. You hear something on the radio and you're like, something heavier has to be out there. You know, there's something more extreme than this, and you keep trying to find the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah, I think Slayer was my trigger point for that.
Yeah, eventually you get to like, I don't know, grindcore or something, but like, you know, there's always that thing in your head of like, there's definitely something heavier out there. Because I can remember like the first time I heard Heartwork, and I heard the blast beats on that, and I was like, that's the sound that I was thinking of in my head. I couldn't like imagine what it was, but
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
But sure, you know, every younger kid now have Spotify, so they have all that. They have it on YouTube as well, so there's no real buzz off a friend recommending anything. Well, maybe they can on Spotify.
Yeah.
Like the buzz when I was a kid was, I don't know if you remember LimeWire, and like downloading LimeWire. So it was like
No, never heard of it.
File sharing things. So like if you wanted to download a song, you'd have to go onto this and try and find the song.
Was Rapid Share one of those things? Is it? Rapid
could have been
Share?
like Napster would have been one of them as well.
Yeah.
But like the pain of waiting like 4 hours for this song to download, and it turns out to be an ad, is just like. So that was that was my thing when I was younger.
Jesus, are you following any of the black metal scene around Ireland, lads? The likes of Gallup now, for example.
That's right. Yeah. There's a band, correct me if I'm wrong, there was something, Invictus just released something based out of Ballincollig, actually. I'm trying to remember what the name is. I'm going to look it up now while I'm
go ahead.
Because I thought that was really good, actually. That was pretty impressive.
From Ballincollig.
Swear to God, yeah.
That was probably a one-man black metal band.
For sure, yeah.
There's a few of them out there, isn't there?
But it was deadly, so, you know. Fair play to you, man, for doing it. So.
Would that actually be the ultimate goal somewhere along the way? That maybe Invictus could pick you up for a few EPs or get you on a tour in Europe?
Yeah, I suppose we're open to working with anyone who's interested in doing the same thing. I wouldn't close any doors or anything like that. I'd be open to working with anyone who finds what we do interesting.
Do you actually know Dara himself?
Yeah, we've known Dara for a long time, yeah.
Through the scene, yeah, you know, and all the gigs and helping out.
Yeah, he would have put Wound Upon Wound on a good bit, and he put us on as Mortignia with Portal and things like that. So
yeah, that Verklac are a great band, man. I really like them.
Yeah,
they'd be about as extreme, them and Malthusium as well, but after that I'm pulling back.
I think that's nearly where I'd start digging deeper to find more.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But what about the European scenes? What are you listening to at the moment? Are you still listening to older stuff, or are you listening to new music?
I suppose what I'm listening to a lot lately is from further in Europe. It's Ulcerate from New Zealand. Is a big one on my playlist at the moment.
Right,
I've heard of the name. I wouldn't know much about them.
Yeah, I think for me anyway, they play very kind of, I don't know, forward-thinking, deathy, black metal-y stuff.
Okay.
It's like nothing I've ever really heard before. So really enjoying that lately.
I'm just looking at my recently added stuff here. We've got like Mare Cognitum and Spectral Voice. So those are kind of like Colorado-based bands.
Okay.
Denver. Stuff like Primitive Man is like a huge influence for me as well. Probably not necessarily comes through in the music maybe, but I really enjoy what they're going for. Enjoy is the wrong word because it sounds absolutely horrible. But, like, you know
Endure it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Acolyth actually are one that came out this year, which is a 4-track EP, like kind of old school black metal, very claustrophobic kind of production. Be well worth checking that out. That's on Amor Fati Productions, if you know that label.
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, I checked that out. That's really good.
And is the whole Norwegian scene now done to death? Has their time passed as such?
I don't know if I'd say their time has passed, but I find, especially with a lot of the, I suppose, the more modern bands, it's kind of rehashing the same thing. So I'd rather just go back and listen to the original.
Yeah.
I think I do that as well. I mean, you have to take it forward at some stage, you know, and kind of innovate on it. And there's tons of bands who did that. I have a soft spot for, I know it's kind of more old school, but still kind of after the second wave stuff is Thorns, which is like that kind of industrial edge black metal stuff. I really enjoy that. I keep going back to that a lot, actually.
Yeah, Jack now is watching this from
Yeah.
Gallock and he's going, yeah.
Yeah, Jack,
Just like,
it's all Jack stuff, like, yeah.
but like what I think is mad then is your social circles, right, outside of the scene. And, you know, inevitably people will go, oh, what do you do? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm a musician. What do you play? So you tell them, like, I'd say some of the stories are funny. Or do you even give them a listen to what?
I've been through that conversation a fair few times. You
Yeah.
know? Oh, you play an instrument, do you? Yeah. Oh, what type of stuff? It's pretty heavy metal, yeah. Oh, you mean like Metallica?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just leave it go at that, like you can't.
Yeah, I think trying to explain beyond that is doesn't land well with most people.
And what
No,
about
I
your?
think a few people do know what we do, but again, it's more people that would know sort of a bit more of a personal level as opposed to just through work or something like that.
Yeah, because always the work colleague will be kind of that bit extra nosy, and then you just fucking play them something, then they're gone. Like, oh.
They're sorry they asked at that point.
Yeah, they know. Oh, Richie does a podcast. It's a heavy metal podcast, and then they're going, "Oh, like, do you be interviewing Iron Maiden and stuff like that?" I'm going, "Nah." Tell us bands that you interview, and I always go, "Well, there's 10 Ton Slug anyway." They go, that's actually a good name, you know.
Funny you say that, actually. A lad I work with grew up with one of the lads from Gamma Bomb who you interviewed very
Oh, right, okay.
So I told him you were interviewing me today, and he was like, "Man, you guys must be getting some serious momentum." Same thing as Gamma Bomb, and I was like, "Yeah."
The Gamma Bomb lads are fucking sound, man. They've done it. Like, this is the amazing thing about this Irish metal scene. There's some bands actually have broke out of Europe, hit America, Brazil, Mexico, and came back and told the story, and then they're ready to go again, you know.
Yeah.
Fair play to them, yeah, for sure.
It's just mad that like some bands just kind of are forgotten about because they're probably a generation ahead of other younger guys coming through. You know, like I
think as well it's probably partially an ability to dedicate as well. Like, I think it takes a lot to convince someone to give up, you know, a job or college or school or something to go off and do
Absolutely.
a 2-3 week tour, and you know, it would put a lot of people off. So I think it's probably an ability to dedicate, and, you know, a willingness to go the extra mile, I think.
Well, that definitely came across in the interview, 100%. And, you know, having interviewed so many bands over the last year, I could nearly pick out the bands that have that hunger, you know, and others then that are just quite content just to hold down the full-time job. Like, because it's 99% won't make it, you know. You know, it's as simple as that. Like, they're just have your job and then create music and then do your tours around Ireland and England. You know, if you're happy with that, well and good. I
think you have to be realistic about it as well. I mean, I think the days of being a Metallica or something are sort of over. So, you know, as long as you're realistic, you won't kind of let yourself down, or, you know, you won't be let down. For us, like, I suppose, I don't know, Gearoid, if you share the same thought, but, you know, I know this isn't going to replace my job, so I'm happy enough to plow ahead with this and release music to the best of the ability we can. And if something comes of it, great. I'm happy to play any tours or festivals we can get, but won't replace it.
I mean, we do it because we love doing it. You know, it's not about that. It sounds like a cliched answer, but yeah, I do this because I just love making music like this, and always enjoyed listening to it. You know,
and also the thrill of playing that music to an audience as well that want to hear it.
Yeah, for me, that's the biggest point. I mean, I don't want to say took a break, but I kind of stepped away from playing in bands for a couple of years in between when kind of Cold War broke up, and after a while, like, you just get the itch to do it again. So it's more like a hunger inside you that goes, right, let's get back at it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like, why couldn't any band get excited about playing The Siege?
Actually, yeah.
I think that's the highlight of any band's calendar, really. In the
Yeah,
country.
it is, rightly so too. Danielle pulling up at the camper van, you know.
It's not my camper van. Richie always brings back the time that when my friends drove a camper van to the Siege, and we all were like sitting outside drinking in the camper van before we went in.
In the sunshine.
In the sunshine, we all had like camper chairs and everything on the footpath just outside Dolan's, drinking away.
Never got an invite, lads. Never got an invite. But
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not one to hold a grudge.
Every podcast since.
I know if we see a camper van at the next one anyway, there better be an invite.
It'll be fucking mobbed.
It'll be just like party.
It'll be the who's who of fucking Irish metal.
It's going to be like the green room, like, you know, it's backstage.
Actually, there's one for you. Have any of you watched the Siege gigs there that they're doing at the moment?
Yeah, I watched the two of them. I watched the Zela Cult one and then I watched the Tombs one. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Isn't it?
I'd love to take part
Great,
if they'd like to have us down.
Plug, yeah.
Yeah.
John, I know John watches the show anyway, or listens to it anyway, so you know John.
Oh, John, if you're out there.
John has got this fucking list.
Whoa.
I think he's got a list of lists.
Yeah. They're a great band, aren't they? Zela Cult, actually.
Yeah. Particularly their last album, I think, was a major step up for them.
I know.
In the right direction.
Definitely, they have a fucking savage album in there and ready to go. I can't remember. Somebody gave me a tip off to say that he heard maybe one or two demos and he said they were fucking brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
What made you use Track Mix Studios, Mick Richards?
We just knew it would give us the result we were looking for, I suppose. And we wanted to get the stuff done, so we were hoping at the point in time we were recording, we wanted to get it done and out before the end of the year, so we knew it would be a good place to go for a quick turnaround. I think I've been there 4 or 5 times, so I knew we'd get the job done.
Yeah, like we recorded those 2 songs in one day, which is kind of a task for any band, but like Mick can do that kind of thing, you know. He's a professional for sure. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, we knew we'd deliver. So we came in, I don't think we barely had to go over anything, you know. We just kind of played the song straight through, delivered them, and then that was it. So
Jesus, that was serious going, wasn't it? For 2 songs in one day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Particularly for the drummer as well. Like I heard Kieran saying it's always a nightmare recording drums.
Yeah.
So it's unreal.
Yeah.
And would you go back? Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I think it's handy as well with Track Mix in the sense that a lot of the gear is set up ready to go, so you're not wasting time, you know, finding the right microphone or finding this or that, the other, set up, good to go. You go in, get the stuff done.
So, so obviously, Mick will see you again in the next, hopefully, few months, yeah?
Yeah, we're just trying to finalise the plans and, you know, look at kind of what we want to do, what format we want to release, and kind of what overall sound we're going to go for. I think if we're going for the next release, it'll probably be something maybe a little less polished, I think. That's what we're all looking at.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, you have a dilemma now with the name, because, I mean, that affects your merch as well.
Thankfully, we don't have much merch at the moment.
Just planning it even.
Yeah, I think like we've got the plans are well underway for changing the name, getting the new logos and stuff done. So hopefully we'll have that all released in the next couple of weeks. Once we finalise everything, and we're looking to hopefully get then merch done at that point. So we'll have solidified it in stone. Yeah,
excellent. And gig-wise, did you have anything planned October onwards? No, or are you just waiting to see?
We had the Overoff gig that we were putting on that was supposed to take place back in May. That was meant to move to, I think, September originally, but I don't know. I don't think anything.
That's too soon, I'd say, yeah.
I'd say we'd be lucky if we get anything this year in terms of live music anywhere, really.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it, to think? Christ almighty.
Yeah.
I think down Cork, realistically, I can't see Fred's running a gig.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's so small as well. You know, such an enclosed space.
The only thing
and I think as well for the bands, it's a bit of a weird, I suppose, experience to play a gig where there's, you know, people standing 2 meters apart, not getting into it, or sitting at tables, you know.
Yeah, it's weird.
You might just have to investigate or just do what Elder Drew did and a few others. They just play a live gig like that format as that John is currently running.
Yeah.
Maybe do it in Dublin, you know.
Yeah. Enslaved are actually doing a whole tour like that, which I find a bit strange because they're not touring anywhere. They're just going to play.
Are they
really?
just broadcasting it to a different city every night?
Really?
Yeah. Well, I guess their logic is like they have a whole album recorded and ready to go now, and they're going to release it later this year. I'm not doing promo for Enslaved or anything. It's just fact. But, yeah, I figure they probably are like, God, we have to play the songs live somehow, you know, and do the promotional cycle for this stuff. So they're going to do, I think it's like 2 weeks of stream gigs.
Oh,
So,
they'll probably sell tickets that way as well. I'd imagine you could
maybe.
set it up that you pay a
Yeah.
$5 to watch them play.
So I would, yeah.
Yeah, and then get a T-shirt as well, an online T-shirt with the online tour. It is fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Now we'll have fucking holograms of Jesus Motorhead on tour.
Yeah.
When does it stop? Like, fucking hell.
I think the best thing to do is just take the time to get back to the studio and get the releases ready to go, and kind of hope once this is all lifted, you can get back on feet again.
Yeah. I just don't know. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening down Cork. For some reason, I just can't see it happening. Because we just don't have the bigger size venues. Cypress Avenue will get away with it, but then who will play Cypress Avenue? You know, I mean, you're
I
talking
think
about
we have the same problem even up here, though. I mean, if you look at the venues, like for a lot of bars, it's not worth even opening if the venue's only going to be, you know, half or a third full.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know,
How you get around that would be just do a mini festival and try and get the Academy or somewhere like that.
Yeah, for sure. That would work, yeah.
You know, and you know, we nearly had it there with Monolith, but
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
Jesus, that was some lineup. Did you see that lineup?
yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Savage.
So while I've been talking there in the background, I've been doing some research here because I was driving myself mental trying to remember who that.
Have you been multitasking while you were talking to us?
Have?
Wow.
Sorry.
Who knew he
The
could do
man
it?
is wasted. He should be fucking playing poker out in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So it's not Invictus. Apologies to Dara for claiming it was Invictus. It's
I
Fomori.
thought you were on about the fucking Cork Ballincollig band. Jesus.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So
All right. Okay.
Fomori and Hate put this out, not Invictus. So apologies for the mistake, but they're called Curse Wielder.
Oh.
And
Okay.
it's 4 tracks. It's a demo. And it's just really nasty sounding black metal stuff. And it is, in fact, from Ballincollig. So I knew
Wow.
that part at least. But that's a class release. People should check that out.
There's a great plug. So what are they called again?
Curse Wielder, they're called. I thought that was
First
bad.
wheeler.
Curse
Cool.
Wheeler from Ballincollig. Imagine that.
Well, only over the road for me.
Jesus.
Home of black metal.
That's it, yeah.
We might jump in the car there,
That's
Daniel,
it,
and we'll
yeah.
interview him later.
That's it, yeah.
Gearoid sent us up.
Yeah.
Okay, lads, I'm going to leave you go. Brilliant talking to you. As I
Cheers.
said, you have a fan base, despite only having 2 songs, but those 2 songs are really excellent, aren't they, Daniel?
Unbelievable, like,
Yeah.
and the maturity you have, bring like your ideas there. It's probably one of the most mature plans I've heard for a band. Just you know, releasing EPs bit by bit and everything. It's
I
unreal.
think
I can't
we've all
wait.
learned from past mistakes and
Yeah.
things being done wrong. So
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you bring out next. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you.
And stay in touch with us as well. You know, any chance we get, we'll plug you. Obviously, you know.
Thanks.
Will do. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, so you've been listening to Drought, and shout out to Gearoid, Dave, and the other members of the band are Mark, Andy, and Hodge. Is it? Is he called him?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thanks, lads, and hopefully we might see you on the road, or we might get a new release off you anyway before the year is out. Anyway, please God.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
so.
Thanks for
Alright,
listening to the
lads.
show.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, lads.